Hello, everyone. My name is Zaki Kumiakumi. I'm a trainee data analyst at Quantum Analytics. I recently used Power BI to analyze the 2012 ratings of restaurants in Mexico, and I would like to share my findings with you. All right. So, according to consumer ratings, the overall best restaurant is Totas Lucas Hipocampo. The best in terms of convenience is Cafeteria Y Restaurant El Pacifico. The restaurant that serves the best food is Totas Lucas Hipocampo, and Totas Lucas Hipocampo is also the best in service delivery. Now, consumers located in four cities, okay, which are Ciudad Victoria, Cuernavaca, Jutepec, as well as San Luis Potosi, rated the restaurants in those cities. And based on their rating, as I mentioned earlier, Totas Lucas Hipocampo is the best. And when we look at this restaurant, it is located in the city of San Luis Potosi. Its overall rating is 48, serves fast food, does not provide alcohol service, no smoking area. Its price is quite affordable, and there's a parking space, okay, for its consumers or customers. Right. The next is Puesto de Tacos. Okay, its overall rating is 41. Serves Mexican food. It's located in San Luis Potosi. No alcohol service, no smoking area. Its price is low, but there's no parking space. And so one may wonder, why will a restaurant, okay, that does not have a parking space, that does not have a smoking area or provide alcohol service, why is that restaurant being highly rated? I would say mainly it is because this restaurant serves Mexican cuisine. Okay, it serves Mexican cuisine, and it's also in Mexico. So the fact that it does not have a parking space, okay, did not affect its rating. Okay, and we can also look at the price. Okay, the price of its meal, it's very low. So consumers rated it highly. The third on the list is Cafeteria Y Restaurant El Pacifico. Okay, its overall rating is 33. As I mentioned earlier, this is the best restaurant in terms of convenience. Why? It provides alcohol service, it has a smoking area, its price is in medium, and there's a parking space. So unlike Totas Lucas Hipocampo, cafeteria provides all other services, including alcohol as well as smoking. And we can go on to look at the all the restaurants on the chart, all right, and we'll find out the same thing. Now let's look at the location of consumers as well as their preferred cuisines. Okay, their location in these cities. All right. So when we start from here, this chart shows that in the city of San Luis Potosi, okay, four consumers prefer Afghan food, one prefers African food, 10 prefer American food, one prefers Armenian food, two prefers um, Australian food as well as Asian food, and we can go and on like that. We can also other look at other cities, Cuernavaca, and we'll find out the same thing. But let's compare the preferred cuisines of consumers to the number of restaurants that provide such cuisine. Okay, so here we can see here that 97 consumers, okay, prefer Mexican food, but just 28 restaurants serve Mexican food. In other words, demand is more than supply. And we can also come down here to check other things. Okay, we can come down here, we can look at some other things. All right. It said let's look at, for example, bar. Okay, let's look at bar. All right. So just three consumers want a restaurant that provide bar. Okay, is concerned with a restaurant that has a bar. But guess what? 13 restaurants, okay, 13 restaurants have bar, and this then shows that what supply is more than demand. This shows that supply is more than demand. Okay, and we can continue, or we can go on and on like that to look at other things. For example, we can look at the number of consumers that want American food. For example, American food, 11, okay, 11 consumers want American food, and there's a shortfall, okay, just 5 restaurants serve American food. So when we look at this, we see that there's indeed a market indeed a market, or you can go ahead to open your own restaurants in Mexico or in one of these cities to cater for the shortfall in supply. All right. And this chart here, let's look at this pie chart. This pie chart tells us certain things. Okay. It tells us certain things about restaurants as well as consumers. Okay. As well as consumers. So when we look at this, for example, we see that 70% of restaurants, okay, do not have do not allow smoking. All right, they do not allow smoking. While just 18% of restaurants, okay, have a smoking section. 18% of restaurants allow for smoking. All right. Okay. And we can also look at some other things. We can also look at some other things. Now, in terms of smoker, this is more about the restaurants. Okay, it's more about the restaurants. Okay, so let's look at some other things. We can look at the demography of these consumers. For example, all right, 21% of these consumers are 23 years old. All right, they are 23 years old, and so we can then see that most of them prefer Mexican food. Most of them prefer Mexican food, followed by American food. Okay, so most of them prefer Mexican food, then followed by American food. And we can still go on and on like that. We can still check, we can look at this, all right, those in the age of 21 as well as their preference. Okay, let's drill down further to see some other things. All right, let's see some other things. So we can see that, okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, this. So when we look at this pie chart, for example, okay, it also shows that 89%, okay, still looking at demographic, 89% of consumers are single, okay, 89% of consumers are single, all right? And when we look at this, we realize that it's one of the reasons, the marital status of these consumers is one of the reasons for their desire to eat out, all right? Their desire to eat out. So we see that 87 of them, okay, prefer Mexican food, and we're already aware of the shortfall. When we look at the married ones, so we can see, all right, we can see the married people are not so interested in eating out, all right, in eating out. So we have about 8, okay, 8 of them prefer Mexican food, and one prefers Italian. Just one of them will go out to have a breakfast. So this tells us that in Mexico, or looking at in these 4 cities, if you want to open a restaurant, then you should, 1, be interested in serving Mexican food. 2, you should also target singles, okay, singles and those who are below the age of 25. who are below the age of 25. So summarily, certain things that we can see here are: one is that if you decide, one is that there's a market, okay? There's a market for in Mexico, okay, if you want to open a restaurant, okay? The second thing is that your restaurant should target singles, okay, should target singles and consumers who are below the age of 25. Okay. The third one is that the third factor to look out for is that to be able to, provide a level of convenience, okay, to provide convenience like cafeteria while restaurant El Pacifico, okay, which I regard as the best restaurant in terms of convenience. Why? Because it does not only serve food, okay, it also provides alcohol service. It has a smoking area. Its price is quite reasonable, and there's a parking space. All right. So this is the end of my presentation. If you have any question, kindly drop it in the comment section on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.